All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Good morning and welcome to this year-end edition of All Indiana Politics. I'm Garrett Bergquist in for Phil Sanchez. A member of Indiana's congressional delegation says she won't serve on any committees. Congresswoman Victoria Spart says she will sit out the committee process and party conference functions when the new Congress is sworn in on January 3rd. She explained her decision to our Phil Sanchez.
Let's go ahead and welcome in Congresswoman Victoria Spart now. Congresswoman Spartz, good to see you. Why haven't you chosen not to serve on any committees this Congress?
Well, I think, one of my commitments for the people I represent to fix our institutions. So next Congress we can govern. And I haven't seen leadership of my party making any changes to this broken institution. It was interesting. I even went on CNN today, to kind of get that message to broader audience, because we need to put pressure from the American people on this institution. And some Democrats came to me on the floor and said, you said a lot of fair things. So there is a bipartisan frustrations with us not be able to govern for the American people. And at some point we need to do something. I'm responsible for my party that we can deliver. And I haven't seen them making any serious changes. This CR is a good example of the four-corner deals, trying to put it last second that people cannot read anything and then try to jam it before Christmas.
Congresswoman, does this undermine your ability to serve your constituents?
No, actually, it actually gives me more time to serve my constituents, because most committee don't do any work. I even chair of Ways and Means Committee told me that no one cares what he has to do. Actually, I've been working on passing legislation, and they didn't go through committees. They went through Rules Committee or through the Speaker's office, and I successfully passed a lot of legislation, even under Democrats, and were able to deliver a lot. So it's a relationship with people, and I still will be working with my Republicans in the Senate and the House, and a lot of them reach out to me personally, and they want to deliver. And I think that's something, but we need to create a system where people actually able to legislate. As a state senator, former state senator, I was very disappointed how broken Congress is, and that's not what American people want. So I'll still be working very hard, working with Trump team. He has a lot of great people. I had a lot of meetings with them, helping Ilan and Vivek and helping some other appointees and President Trump to deliver. And I think we're going to do it, but ultimately we need to structurally fix this institution if we're going to fix this republic.
That being said, Congresswoman Spartz, how do you plan to work with President Trump's proposed Department of Government Efficiency?
Well, listen, they have great ideas, and I think I can help them to write legislation, because unfortunately we cannot, govern through executive orders. And if they just put through executive orders, a lot of these great things are going to be slow worked and not implemented. And in 4 years, we'll go back to business. And a lot of these agencies needs to become more efficient and accountable. So I think I will help. I'm actually wrote a lot of bills. I don't write just talking points and messaging bills, but actually wrote real legislation. And I will help them to work on writing legislation and then have that legislation as part of our package of reconciliation, because that's going to be very important for us to actually pass some real reforms for reconciliation, including big issues like healthcare reform. I've been working for a very long time. We have to fix healthcare. It's becoming destructive for our country and our people.
Any of that legislation pertain to cutting costs or any other issues specific to Indiana?
Well, listen, Indiana has some of the highest price of healthcare in the country, and a lot of consolidation and monopoly power, which are subsidized a lot of by federal government. We need to stop this protectionism and really catering to large special interest groups, so we can have more competition for value, better outcome, better access, and better price of healthcare. I think that's something done at the federal level, and it will save a lot of money to a consumer. It will save money to federal budget, but it will also help some innovations and eliminate barriers of entry in healthcare. So you actually will get the best service, not what the government pays or some insurance clerk decide to pay, or PBMs that make a ton of money, on medications that doesn't even maybe fit you right, that you're not even prescribed anymore by doctors. I mean, this is becoming almost criminal that we are not able to provide good health care for people, and it's very important. And I think this is one of the biggest issues that's very difficult to do because the lobby in DC is so powerful. And this is, I sit down, honestly, just put like a little presentations that I share with Trump team and the speaker. In an hour, I found $3 trillion of waste and abuse in the system. So give me a little bit more time, I'll find more trillions. But we need to decide what we can pass and how we can, sell it, to the American people, because the machine is going to be attacking us. But enough is enough, and we have a good governor in Indiana who understands that he wants to make healthcare be, affordable, accessible, and have a great value for the people.
Congresswoman, I have one more question for you before I let you go, and I appreciate you coming on. What else can we expect from you in this upcoming year?
So I think, we'll have to deliver a real result. And I think there are some things that we need to do. And I think my party need to deliver on the promises to the American people. We need to fix the border. I think administration is going to do a lot of things that they're going to provide proper funding. They were going to secure the border. We need to stop a lot of, bad policies, around the world, and make sure that we deter our adversaries, deal more effective with China, bring manufacturing back home, have good energy policy, but also get spending under control. And that is something I personally, as a CPA, as someone who spent so many years dealing with finances, I always kind of joke, I know enough to be dangerous about Javelin and Stingers, but I'm very dangerous with finances, and we really need to start governing for the people and have innovations and growth in the economy. And I truly think we can deliver in these next two reconciliations.
Okay, well, Congresswoman Victoria Spart, happy holidays to you. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you in 2025. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Coming up, Evansville's mayor explains how parks factor into her strategy for her city. Welcome back. The mayor of Evansville says her city needs to make long overdue investments in quality of life projects. I recently went down to Evansville in the southwest corner of the state to talk to Mayor Stephanie Terry. It's part of our series highlighting the work of Indiana's black mayors.
Not traditional merry-go-round, but again, a wheelchair could come here. The day we opened, we had seniors that were from the nursing home that are just here that could come over and utilize this space.
Terry just cut the ribbon on the new Wesselman Park playground this spring. The playground includes ramps and wheelchair-accessible playsets. Terry says she wants to tackle quality of life issues that have been neglected for decades.
People don't relocate for just a job anymore. They want to know what are the amenities in that city. And so as we've made a commitment to make sure that we really invest in that quality of place and make sure that we have high quality spaces for recreation and family and leisure entertainment, it's a top priority.
Terry is Evansville's first black mayor and its first woman mayor. She says it's an honor to make that kind of history.
It's all about representation. We want our voices heard, and that's really why I've been involved in politics for a very long time, but service to people in the community. So that's why, I do what I do every day, is because I want, really a better place for all.
She says that leads into an initiative her predecessor launched, E is for Everyone. For Terry, that means adding affordable housing developments and working with immigrant professors in Evansville to add translators for city services. And it means ensuring everyone can enjoy city parks, including those with disabilities.
It really sets a tone for this is a place that's going to value everyone that lives here. And so we're making sure that we put things in place that support that tagline. And it's not just a tagline, but it really has been put into action. And that means a lot to the individuals that are living here.
Since she took office in January, Terry has begun block-by-block cleanups, such as this one in October. She wants to continue those projects in the new year. She hopes to fix or demolish 150 blighted properties, roughly triple what the city normally does. And she has $24 million set aside for park renovations, such as the ones at Wesselman.
When you take care of folks at the neighborhood level, when you take care of children and families, when families and neighborhoods are strong, the city as a whole is stronger. And so I think the more we can continue to do and invest in that space, we're going to be better overall.
Coming up, Indiana's best political team on the biggest headlines of 2024. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics as we welcome in two members of Indiana's best political team, Democrat Laura Beck and Republican Mario Masalamani. Let's begin with Congresswoman Spartz's decision not to serve on any committees or participate in the Republican conference. Mario, this takes her out of a lot of the detail process of legislating. Does this do a disservice to the people of the 5th District?
You know, as the Hamilton County Republican chairman, I've received a number of calls and emails and text messages from people that are really disheartened with the fact that she's not going to be participating in the process. And, you know, what I'm hearing from people is that if you're not even in the game, how can you play it? And so if she's trying to fight the swampiness of Washington, the pork and the fat that a lot of times are being passed in these bills and legislation that doesn't help the American people, then how can she participate in the process when she's not even on any of the committees? As most people know from history lessons and government lessons, you know, a lot of the bills that are being crafted and drafted are come through committee. And so that's an opportunity when you're on one of these big and important committees, is not only to draft legislation but also to stop legislation, to stop some of the spending, stop some of the wokeness, some of the issues that she's passionate about. And so by not being in any of the committees and not participating, not only is she not able to pass any legislation and be a voice for the 5th District, but she's not also able to stop legislation. And so I don't understand what her analysis is. Maybe, down the road, a couple months or a year down the road, I'm going to say that I'm wrong on this. But right now, I just don't understand where she's coming from.
Laura, Republicans are going into the next Congress with a 5-seat majority. Does this suggest we're already seeing cracks in that majority?
Well, I mean, Representative Spartz has a lot of priorities for somebody who isn't planning on showing up to the key part of her job. It potentially could, absolutely. And I think that we're going to see definitely cracks. I think anytime government is tilted in one direction, whether it Republican or Democrat, where you have all of the elected bodies, you just don't get good government in it. So I think that's definitely possible. What strikes me is you have the segment with Representative Spartz, and then you also have the segment following up with the Evansville mayor. And the contrast between the two is so striking, not because it's a Democrat or Republican, but because here's somebody who is railing against Washington, who doesn't want to be a part of Washington, yet wants to get paid for being in Washington. And here you have somebody at the local level, mayors just get the job done, who is talking about boosting the community, working on parks, all of the different initiatives that they have going forward. And frankly, I think we need less professional politicians and more people like Mayor Terry to run for these kind of offices.
Indiana Democrats will pick a new party chair early next year. Laura, how will the recent sexual harassment scandals with the administration of Mayor Joe Hogsett and with State Senator Greg Taylor affect this race?
Well, I think that's always going to be a factor, and I think that is going to continue to be a factor, especially for those elected officials as we look down the line. But really, the state chair is about party building. It's about a vision for the future. I know there are other folks who are looking at it and who have talked about it. And I think at the end of the day, the folks who make that selection on behalf of the party, I think will make the right call. But again, it's about somebody who can build the party, who can help us get seats back, expand our maps, do all of those different things. We have a huge task ahead of us. And I think you have to definitely work together in a constructive and in a agreeable way to make sure there's a lot of voices at the table. Yes, the sexual harassment issues will have an impact, but so will a number of other issues as well.
Mario, what role can party chairs play in reining in misconduct? They can't fire elected officials or the people who work for them.
Yeah, but, the state party chair has a lot of power and a lot of influence because they're able to raise a lot of money, not only for, specific mayoral races, but also for other races. Also, they are the speaker, especially with the Republican Party in Indiana, the governor, soon to be Mike Braun, will be kind of the face and the voice of the Republican Party. But for the Democrats, that really will be the state party chairman or woman. From looking at some of the names that are out there, like Destiny Wells, the Republicans are excited. I just not too long ago talked about the fact that she has run for now. She'll be running for 3 offices in 4 years. Talk about somebody that wants to be a career politician, but just can't get elected for that. She's a Twitter warrior. She doesn't understand the nature of how to build up a party from the ground up. The Democrat Party in the state of Indiana has not won any statewide offices in a long period of time. If anything, they need somebody like, the other panelist on here, Laura Beck. She understands messaging. She understands grassroots. She's somebody that actually would be a concern for Republicans. But somebody like Destiny Wells, who loves to sit around and bash people on Twitter, heck, she attacked me not too long ago because I'm a recovering alcoholic. Guess what? I got a lot of calls from Republicans and Democrats, so disappointed in her behavior. If she wants to be a state party chairperson, then she needs to be able to handle criticism and pressure a lot better. And so I think it's extremely important to see who the Democrats pick this upcoming cycle as who their state party chairman is, because that is the person that's going to have to raise money. That's the person that's going to have to make sure that the Democrats are all on the same page for messaging. We have that person in Governor Mike Braun. Hopefully the Democrats have somebody that will rejuvenate the party and help them start winning again.
So this being our final episode of 2024, let's take a look back on the year. What was the biggest headline in state politics this year? Mario, you go first.
The biggest headline in state politics, I believe, is the large numbers in which Republicans won this last November. Everyone had been talking about how close Braun's race was going to be, that the Libertarian Donald Rainwater was going to peel away votes, and that Jennifer McCormick was going to have a better chance of winning. Looking at the results, Mike Braun won by a significant number. Also, I think as part of that, you saw such a depressed vote coming out of Marion County and also Lake County, where she was going to have to perform extremely well to show that how well Mike Braun won and how successful he was in bringing coalitions of conservatives, moderates, establishments together to vote him into office, I think is exciting. I think is also not just from all the media attention, wasn't a surprise, but the large number in which he won by, I think, is a big headline for this last election cycle.
Laura, same question to you. What was the biggest headline of the year in Indiana politics?
Well, I think the governor's primary was a big headline. I think that was definitely a big headline, but I think equally the margin that Trump won by, and the fact that you had a ticket of Mike Braun, Micah Beckwith, who was elected at convention and was not the governor's choice. I can't remember the last time that's happened in recent history. So I think for me, it is the sort of traditional establishment Republicans have now been taken over by a more MAGA affiliated, I don't want to say party, but faction of the party. That to me was a big headline. Another headline to me that I think was a big story here is, again, the sexual harassment issues that have come to light throughout the political parties. My party this year was the one where the transparency was there. And I think the work that has been done to address those issues and to continue addressing those issues moving forward is incredibly important. There were some very, very brave women and people who love them who came forward this year, and I want to take my hat off to them. I also want to just say really quickly, I have no intention of doing any type of state leadership in politics. Thank you, though, to Mario. But I also want to tell Mario, congratulations, and I'm so proud of him for being in recovery, living that out loud. I think that says a lot, and I think if one person can get strength from that, then more power to them. So I appreciate Mario being open and upfront about that.
Thank you.
Well, Laura and Mario, we appreciate you both coming on all through this year, and we're looking forward to having you on again during a very busy 2025. We'll be back after this. Thank you for joining us for All Indiana Politics. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30 for the first episode of 2025. And here's a New Year's goal for you. Check out our All Indiana Politics podcast. It's on our website, wishtv.com. You can find the show as well as extended interviews with all of our guests, such as what you heard with Congresswoman Victoria Spart and with political candidates, members of the General Assembly all throughout the year. Happy New Year. We'll see you next Sunday.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.